Well, my passion, to be quite honest, is anything to do with art. In high school, I was very, very involved with art, extremely involved with art. And I had a high school teacher that was phenomenal, like absolutely phenomenal. So when I was a kid, he was sending stuff to art shows in Brazil. I was like, really? Where's Brazil? Like, yeah. So it was neat. And I was very lucky at 16, I went to Europe and I traveled from the top to the bottom, and all I did was go to art galleries and museums, which was really, really fabulous. I went straight out of high school into Humber College for advertising and graphic design, but I came out of college and shortly after I became a mom. I'd been out of it for so long. I never stopped loving it. I never stopped appreciating the arts or supporting the arts or going to the galleries and that type of thing. So I would do the occasional artwork as a gift or photograph as a gift or something like that, but it was on hold until 2 years ago when I came to Quesnel, and I'm semi-retired and I'm like, okay, this is my time. My son's grown and I decided I'm going to do my love and go out and take the pictures and travel and explore. And then I'll often go back and find something, a place that I photographed, and I'll turn it into a watercolor. And then I get a different kind of format of it. You can take 100 pictures and then go back through them and you're like, whoa, I didn't see that. Yes, you did. You just don't realize it. Yeah, but I just fell in love with what you could find through a lens and taking pictures that are of something that everybody sees, but they don't see it the way you do. And you may walk past it 2 or 3 times and all of a sudden you're like, look at that, it's in there. So yeah, that's what I like to do. I'll be out in the garden all the time taking pictures of stuff on my flowers or different flowers coming out. But usually it's animals, wildlife, that kind of thing, and mountains. Had a thing about the mountains since I was a little kid. Don't know what. Living in Ontario, I'd never seen one. The trees on this property are absolutely amazing. And then you get the mist off the river and you can watch the storms coming across the valley. And I've taken photographs and they're in England, Ireland, Scotland. I think one went to Spain because people think that I drew them and I didn't. They're photos. Oh yeah, I mean, a lot of photography's happened on this property, so. My grandmother, she's long gone, but she was probably my favorite person in the whole world. She bought me my first camera, a Pentax K1000, and I still have my first camera. And then I have a Canon that I use now, and yeah, I always had a thing for the photography. I had a grandfather who was a photographer, a very, very accomplished photographer. My father painted, my aunt was a painter, and I kind of watched them. And then I had a godfather who actually was a very famous artist in Canada, and I never got to meet him because he passed away in a car accident before I was born, but everyone loved him and I heard all the stories. And that's actually how I got into doing the watercolors, was because I wanted to follow in his footsteps. And I have a painting in my living room that was gifted to me. And I followed some of the techniques that he tried to do, and it just went from there. I love watercolors because, again, it's like photography. You don't know what's going to happen until it develops. The water will take to the paper differently, or maybe you accidentally, which is what I do often, you dipped into the wrong color and it's come out and it looks amazing, and it's sort of, you just got to let the paper and the water and the color do their thing. I sell through my work. The art gallery, I've been in quite a few little shows in their gift shop and a couple in the gallery. I have cards at the Visitors Center here in Quesnel because I did a whole series on Barkerville and they've been really successful. This year I'm on the art walk and I can't wait. That's going to be really neat. It's probably the biggest one they've ever had. And I'm having a show at the art gallery next April, May, which is really exciting because that's when everybody will be crawling out of their igloos. And I think it'll be great. So that will be a good show. And then I've sold out of the house. I've had people call me up and say, can I come take a look at what you have? But I've sold quite a lot of stuff to Ontario through the internet. Actually, I was setting up my show on Reed Street and standing in front of my pictures, and my girlfriend took my photograph against my pictures, and 2 of them sold and went to Ontario that day, which I was like, wow, like really? I think that's why Quesnel's so healthy, even though we're in bad times. The community came together and everybody supports everyone. You have older people who have been doing it for a million years, and then you have, young people that are starting for the first time. They could be painters, they could be authors, they could be potters, and everyone supports everyone else, and everyone helps somebody else up. I've never seen it. I've lived all over Canada. I've lived in big towns. I've lived in a town of 600. I grew up on a farm. I've never seen anything quite like it. I think everybody's an artist. I think every single person is born with something about them that's creative. If they weren't, we wouldn't have anything. We wouldn't have cars, we wouldn't have furniture, we wouldn't have cabinet makers. Everybody's creative in their own way. I mean, nothing would happen. You wouldn't have a garden if you weren't creative. And if you're creative, you have to create. It's just the way people are. And I think the COVID is horrible and all the things that are going on. However, so many people have been bored out of their minds and isolated from everything in the world. And the only way they could find any peace was to go back into it, to something they enjoyed when they were a kid. And now it's brought out all this incredible talent. Go and buy what they want to try out, get the most inexpensive, the student grade or what have you, and then take a class or go to the art gallery, look at the art in the art gallery, get inspired by what other people do, and not to worry if they're doing it right, because there is no right or wrong.